So this is live.
Well, it's recorded, so it's going to be living in an online library. But yeah, our conversation now is live, and we do have people who are registered to be able to join on to the live webinar. Absolutely,
Nice. Okay.
yeah. So today we are continuing our Top Producers Nation training series with none other than Jessica Beggins with Century 21. Jessica is a member of our monthly Elite Agent Mastermind here in our local market of Tampa Bay, Florida. And it's been great to get to know Jessica a little bit more since she joined the mastermind just this year of 2025. Excited to see how your business continues to grow and develop here, not only this year, but in many, many years to come. I know that real estate is in the Beggins blood, going back many years now with your parents and I believe even your grandparents, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
I think I saw something here. So Century 21 was started in not Century 21, but the franchise was brought to Florida in the 70s. And your parents, Craig and Angelique, started Century 21 Beggins back in the early 90s. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. Yep. So my grandfather, he opened the first Century 21 franchise in the state of Florida back in the 1970s.
Nice. So
Yep,
it is
they
definitely in
started
the
Century
blood.
21 and yeah, it's in the blood. It's in the blood. One of my friends joked when I first started real estate and was calling FISBOs, she was like, just call them. You don't have anything to worry about. If you get a cut, little houses fall out. It was pretty funny.
Well, we're excited to have you dive into our topic today, which is going to be all about preview or prospecting and previews, right?
Mhm.
That's the title of our training topic today. And so we're going to dig into some of those best practices here. And if you did want to have the ability to do any form of like a presentation, just let me know and then I can let you share. You should be able to share your screen as a panelist, I think, now.
Okay.
So feel free to do that if you want to. But I'll start by just giving you the floor to kind of lead into the topic and why you think this is an important topic. I know you've been teaching this in various different platforms and in different opportunities. You can mention that if you'd like.
Sure.
We'll just start there. So give us a little intro into the topic today and why this is something you're passionate about.
Yeah. So this actually also goes back to my grandfather and what he's been teaching all of us realtors here at Century 21 Beggins. And it's learning your personality style and learning the personality style of your clients so that you can more closely connect with them and really build that relationship. And then using those, all of those skills that you know about the other person to get connected with them to really nail that listing appointment. So it all starts from learning the personalities. Who are you? Different ways that we've created at Beggins to prospect based on your personality style so that real estate can be fun because sometimes this job drives us absolutely insane.
You don't say.
So, yeah, it's permission to have fun with prospecting in the business. So, understanding who you are can allow you to find that way to prospect. And then once you do get a client, how do you learn what their personality style is so that you can create that genuine connection and earn more business?
Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. So, in your experience with this, where does this start in the process? Is it actually some sort of like form or something that you have submitted really early on as you start kind of developing this profile
So
for the
when we
buyer?
do have an agent join our company, we do start with personality tests just so that we can understand who our agents are and let them know who they are and so they know their personality style. So we do have the DISC, the DISC profile is what we use for personalities. And so, yeah, we have all of our agents do that. Now, if you're my grandfather, he also makes his clients take the personality test. I
That's
personally don't do that, but you could.
and I mean,
Yep,
I guess if your goal really though as an agent is to serve at the highest levels possible, the more that you know about the personalities of your clients, the more it should allow you to be able to serve like that, right?
exactly. Yeah. You'll understand how they receive information, how they want to be communicated with. It really changes the structure and dynamic of your relationship with the client.
Without a doubt. Okay. So have you found in your experience, Jessica, that the benefit of this type of approach is it, more towards the agent being more self-aware about who they work with well and who they don't work with well? Or as we just touched on, is it really trying to be more client centric and trying to
Right.
figure out if they can serve their clients at the highest needs? How do you what's like your best practices for how you recommend trying to use the test or other ways to dig into this?
I do think it's a little bit of both. And so, what we generally recommend is as an agent, it's our job to recognize what our personality style is, but it's also our job to go into neutral when you go into an appointment. So, not that you need to fake it or not be yourself, but just kind of take a back burner and put your listening ears on and maybe not talk as much up front. Like if you know that you're a strong I personality, which is usually very interactive and loud and fast to make decisions, maybe you just take a step back, go into neutral, and really listen to the person who's in front of you and try to understand them more so that you can create that connection. Otherwise, you'll be butting heads. So I think it's good to know on both sides. And then as you know, we're in a sales industry, so go into neutral. It doesn't mean don't be yourself. It just means let's take a step back for a minute and reanalyze and try to learn who our client is.
Okay, that makes sense. So is this like part of like an actual process in that you in terms of how you do business or the way that you teach other people in your organization to approach the listing appointment or to approach a buyer's consultation?
Yes.
How does this show up in the actual process itself?
So it's a lot of active listening skills that then translate to this. So if I'm sitting down with a buyer, we do have something called a lifestyle profile checklist. And so we'll take the time to sit with the buyer and ask questions like, what do you like to do when you get home from work? What do you like to do on the weekends? And just kind of learn genuinely about them. And then the way that they start answering the question is going to lead you to what their personality style is,
Mhm.
right? So if they start saying, I don't know, anything really like, oh, we love to go out and the nightlife and the parties and like the way that they're talking and moving their hands, you can kind of pick up on maybe they're an I personality, or are they someone that likes to go to a park on the weekends and keep it nice and quiet and casual, and maybe they're taking care of their mother or their grandparent or something. You can kind of pull out, okay, maybe they're an S personality. It's a little softer, slower, caretaking. So just actively listening to them and genuinely taking that time to set a true buyer appointment, then you're learning about them.
Okay.
And then on a listing, you can do the same thing. And so that's part of like later we'll jump into the two-step listing appointment. And the whole goal there is to just genuinely find that connection with your client and learn more about them.
So it sounds like this type of approach has been utilized on both sides, right? Whether it's the buyer consultation or a listing appointment, you're still having some form of a process that you're trying to follow. Do you have like that checklist you mentioned? Is that in? Do you have that on like a PowerPoint or a presentation that you normally would teach when you present this topic to whoever you usually do it to? Is that something visual that you can show?
I have a copy of it. Let me see if I can go ahead and pull one up for you. I normally gear the presentation that I have is geared towards sellers.
Okay.
So I don't have the lifestyle profile in there, but I do have it hopefully readily available right here. I could show you.
Okay. So you have like a seller's presentation there in front of you, you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Or something similar. I have traveled around to different Century 21s all across the United States now and have kind of put a little presentation together, but I'll go ahead and share my screen just so you can see what this lifestyle profile checklist looks like.
Okay. Yep.
All right. Can you see it?
Yep, we see it.
Okay, perfect. So lifestyle profile, literally just kind of getting an idea. And this is something if you wanted to have them fill out, you could, or it's almost like a little script here you can follow when you're on that initial phone call with them or set a coffee appointment and just kind of have this in front of you and go over these questions. How many kids do you have? Do you have any pets? What do you guys like to do on the weekends? Ask them, where is your job located and how long would you like your work commute to be? What property styles are you looking for? All that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay. So this is
What
like
you
a
can
buyer's
finance.
checklist more than anything,
Yep.
right?
hmm Yep.
Okay.
And then the sales skills really come into play with what you're listening to them say
Mhm.
and take note on how they're responding.
Okay. I get
hmm
that. That makes sense. And then you mentioned that you have something that it sounds like you do differently on the sales side, on the listing side.
Yes.
You want to elaborate on that?
So I think it's a little different. I don't think a lot of people go on two different listing appointments. Because the whole goal is go in with the paperwork and get it signed right away.
Yeah.
Right. So a lot of people, when I do this presentation, are like, well, aren't you worried that if you go for your first appointment and you don't get a listing signed, that someone will come in the meantime and, get that listing signed?
Yep.
And my answer to them was no, because I'm creating a connection with them that other people aren't.
Mhm.
So, with a two-step listing appointment, really the idea is, well, first, you can't price a house until you've truly seen it, right?
Of course. Yeah.
I mean, there was an
At
agent
least
in
if you're going to
Michigan.
do it well, I would imagine.
Yeah.
Right.
Or, and there was an agent that I was speaking to about this, and she said, this makes a lot of sense because if I go on a listing appointment
In the car.
and I don't know what it looks like on the inside, I have three different ranges of where the price is most likely to hit. If I walk in there and it's about what I was expecting, great. If it's a disaster, oh no, I have to make adjustments on the spot. And then if it's way nicer than what I thought, again, you're making adjustments in your head while the seller is telling you some key details about themselves and about the house. You're in your head restructuring what price you're going to recommend that they list the home at.
Yeah.
So if you're able to go on a listing preview appointment, is what we call it, and it's genuinely just before I can price your house, I really would like to come take a look at it. It should only take me 10 to 15 minutes to walk through. I'll get to meet you and just tell me a little bit about the any upgrades you've made to the property since you've lived there. I'll take some notes and then I'll schedule another time to come back and we'll go over the true market data. And that's it. And they say, "Okay, yeah, that makes sense." And so I set that preview appointment, and when I'm on the preview appointment, it's a lot of this is like where your sales skills come in. So you want to start doing some mirror matching things. You want to be actively listening, taking notes. You want to know the dog's name. You want to know their kid's name, the cat. You want to know if they've got a bookshelf and they've got a folded American flag. Maybe you have someone in the military in your family and you can kind of create that connection. So the preview, while it is to see the house, of course, and take notes on the age of the roof, the AC, the electric, plumbing, all the things, it's also a time to take note of what personality style the seller is so that when you come back for your listing appointment, you can gear your presentation towards how they would like to receive it.
Mhm.
So if you can determine on your preview that your seller is a D personality, you don't want to come into your listing appointment with a 45-minute long presentation. Like you're going to want to get right to the point, get to the numbers, don't waste their time. They're not there for that.
Yep.
And then if you can appeal to their style, they're going to subconsciously like you and they're not going to know why, but you are going to start mirror matching them and kind of turn into their personality style to earn the business. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And I'm curious, has this always been your approach on the listing side, or has this evolved over time?
This has always been my approach. This is how I was taught. My grandfather with these personality styles has like ingrained this. So
Okay.
at Beggins, this is what we teach.
This is the Beggins way.
This is the Beggins way.
I like it. I like it.
I know we're giving away our dirty little secrets.
Oh, that's what we're here for. We're here to just spill the beans. That's
Yep,
the
we're
whole point.
spilling all the beans. But really, it creates genuine relationships with your clients.
Oh, without a doubt. And I love the
Mhm.
concept. In your experience, have you had it ever come back and bite you where you do lose in between the first and second appointment, or does it always seem to work out in your favor?
It always seems to work out. You are a professional and they want to know what your value is.
For sure.
Even if they do end up choosing to work with another real estate agent for some reason, I always get back for that second appointment.
Mhm.
They always have me back. I haven't ever been Nope, never mind. We signed with someone else and they don't value it.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
it usually is
they
there
want to know your value.
what type of time frame do you normally want to have between your first and second appointment?
I'm glad you asked that. If you can make it within 24 hours, I would.
Mm-hmm.
48 hours probably on the max because you don't want someone else to swoop in. But say you set your preview for Tuesday at 3, maybe you go back Wednesday at 4 for your listing appointment.
Okay.
And then you spend the rest of that afternoon creating the presentation, and then you can come back the next day. And when I do go on the preview, I do have local market knowledge. So you want to know what's recently sold in the neighborhood so that you can genuinely or like casually throw that out in conversation. Well,
Yeah.
I know the one around the corner sold for this and have that market knowledge, but don't set that price until you come back with the listing paperwork
And that would be on the second meeting, obviously, in that
on the
situation.
second meeting.
Okay.
Yeah. You can bring the listing paperwork with you. Um, I normally don't get it signed on the first appointment, though. The first appointment is strictly a preview, and I come back a second time.
Yeah, I think it makes a lot of sense too to really emphasize the importance of building the relationship on that first meeting, because
Hmm.
I'm assuming if they are doing appointments with other agents, most agents aren't probably approaching it that way. And they're trying to do whatever they can to get them to sign a listing agreement
Right.
on the very first sit down, which, could definitely turn certain people off, right? Obviously, some people make that work and it's been how they've done their business. But I think it would be almost a breath of fresh air in a lot of sellers mindsets to feel like, hey, this person genuinely is taking an interest as a professional rather than just wanting me to sign this agreement.
Right. And it really is about getting to know their house too. And you can kind of sell it that way, well, I've got to see your house before I can price it. Thank you for your time today. Now that I have all of these notes and I have all of your upgrades listed, I can go properly compare this to the competition. So I'll come back tomorrow at 4 and we'll sit down and go through the houses and see exactly where your true market value is. And
Yeah,
so, yeah,
I
it
like
makes
it.
sense.
Yeah, it really does, and it's setting, I think, the right expectations with people up front too.
Mhm.
That they don't have to feel weird about having you come over the first time, that you're going to high pressure sales them into working with them. You're just there to really be, a consultant and have an educated opinion.
Exactly.
Do you do anything similar on the buyer side, or is that simply usually like a one-time consultation before you start putting together your plan?
Yeah, especially now with these buyer broker agreements and getting them signed. I mean, if you're signing a 6-month exclusive buyer broker agreement with someone, you're going to want to show your value and show them how you operate in your business. This is how I run my business. And so if you can sit down and have coffee with them and go through that lifestyle profile checklist, genuinely understand their wants and needs, they're going to sign the buyer broker agreement.
Right.
I do get that signed on that coffee appointment though. And
Okay.
I've been sitting down with buyers at a coffee shop, getting that signed, and then I set them up on their search and then we start shopping. So that has helped to create a genuine connection with the buyers too, where before it was a race to the door, who can get there and open the door fastest for this buyer and then hope that they're not shopping with another agent.
Yeah.
It has slowed the process down a little bit, but also created a true relationship with you and the buyer.
And giving you a little bit more control, right? It sounds like
Mhm.
in that whole process, which I think is good for an agent who knows their worth and knows how to set that up properly.
Right.
I get that too. Um,
Sometimes you got to do the showing agreement, just get get a one and done and make it easy. But if you can take the time and genuinely learn about them, they're going to come back and they're going to refer people to you and they're going to see you as a professional and not just a door opener. You're like, these are the resources that I provide for you. And, we've at Beggins, we have a whole buyer presentation that we go through and scroll through and show them all the value. So yeah, but you want to learn their personality style too. And
yep.
Jared James, he's a real estate coach, and he talks about the love languages of buyers and sellers, and
Mhm.
it's really their communication style. And I think that plays into their personality style. So, are they a texter? Do they like to be sent a DM on Instagram? Do you have to call them? You're not going to learn those things until you take the time to meet with them.
Right. I
Hmm.
get that. So the topic again that we're digging into is prospecting and previews.
Hmm.
And we've obviously touched on some of your process with the preview side, it sounds like.
Hmm.
Um, what role, if any, does some of this personality approach and trying to identify personality styles, what role does that play on the prospecting side of things? Is it actually like integrated somehow into like your marketing strategies or anything like that, or not really?
We at Beggins have kind of turned it into what is your personality style as a real estate agent? Like, who are you? And what would be a successful way for you to prospect and actually enjoy it? So I can share my screen and show you that part of our presentation, and we can kind of go through that together.
Go
Let
ahead.
me pull that up. And so you guys are familiar with DISC and all that. So I probably won't go into that. We'll just jump right in to what we call the agent archetypes.
I like that. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
most
we made
people
it
are
like a
familiar
fun
with this
little
test nowadays.
a fun play on your personality styles. So these are four different ways that you can prospect for business in real estate, right? So one person's going to be like a hard prospector. They're going to be cold calling, doing all the things. You can go to networking events. You can be in the background and you can just be marketing, a marketing machine, or you can be someone who's like quick to convert and you're good at it. So what we did is kind of assigned different ways to prospect to your personality style. So if you know that you are a high D personality, you are most likely going to be really good at making cold calls. You're going to be good at the FISBOs, the expireds, absentee owners, people that you have no relationship with because you're not afraid of hearing the word no. Like it
Yeah.
literally doesn't affect you at all if you're a D personality. So expect to convert 1 to 4% on average because these people don't know you yet. So you have no relationship with them. So that it is harder to convert. But since a D personality is so task oriented, this is just going to be a check off the list, talk to as many people as I can, like boom, boom, boom. I did my 2 hours of prospecting today. I'm good. Um, but D's, if you're a D personality, you're going to find this to be easier than someone who's an S personality, right? If
Yeah.
you're an S personality and you're sensitive and super caring, and someone on the other end of the line just lights you up and then hangs up on you, you're going to be like, my day is ruined. Like, I'm done with this. I hate real estate. So, if you're an S personality, there's other ways for you to prospect and still have fun. So,
Mhm.
generally, if you're a D, you're going to be successful at converting cold leads. And then if you're an I personality, we really encourage the I's to go and join different networking events. So these are Chamber of Commerce and go to your HOA meetings, go to local events. Maybe you sponsor events for your own clients. Um, Anything that you can do to get in front of people and create relationships
Mhm.
because eyes are people. That's the best way. They're fun, they're energetic, they are attractive for that reason. They're bringing in the energy. So if you can, you're going to convert at a higher rate because you are genuinely connecting with these people, you're creating relationships, but it takes longer because you've got to learn about them. You've got to know the dog's name and all the stuff.
Yeah.
But if you're an I personality, you're going to have way more fun going to an HOA meeting and meeting all the neighbors than you are sitting down and making cold calls.
No, I love this. And this is obviously showing that each one of these, and I'll let you keep going here, but each one of these has its pros and cons to it,
Right.
with what you can. But I
Like
like
the
the fact that you're
conversion
able to
rate.
lay out the expectations, because you got your prospector here, which the pros could be that you can get business like today, right? If you're
Yeah.
willing to plow through the nose and handle the numbers and make the calls and deal with the rejection, which I know a lot of people struggle with. But if you are completely fine with that 1 to 4% conversion rate, you can literally get a deal signed this afternoon, right? By just working hard enough and being out there and dealing with the rejection. But then the second one you just mentioned, the networker,
Hmm.
is going to be somebody who has an 85% conversion, which everybody would want. That's much better than 1 to 4%. However, it might take you 6 months to get there. right?
Exactly.
And so in a perfect world, it's maybe having a little bit of a balance of some of these things at different times
Mhm.
in your approach. But I'm assuming you always have at least one dominant trait and personality that you want to lean on. None of them are right
Exactly.
or wrong. That's just identifying your strong points.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what this is because I personally am an I. I'm an IS is my combo.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a people through and through. I love the relationship and I like to make other people happy. So when I was originally cold calling and door knocking in this business, I wanted to quit like every 6 months. I was like, I hate this. I'm over it. And then I'll get to the next one is the marketer. And this is really good for S personalities because you're more behind the scenes. And when I started making video content for social media, that's when I saw my business change and I started having more fun in the business.
Mm-hmm.
I like it. I like behind the scenes and creating a relationship with people. I like warm leads. So this was great for me. So as an S personality, you prefer the indirect contact. Like if I can make a video and attract 15 people to reach out to me from it, that's way cooler to me than cold calling.
Yeah.
But if someone's a D, they're going to hate this style. They're going to be miserable creating videos because it's not a quick fix. This is true relationship building. You've got to care about the person on the other side. And the D personality is like, I don't have time for this. I want to go make money. So that's why these are so fun and so important. Whether you're first starting in real estate or you've been doing this a long time, and you just want to generate new business, understanding who you are as a realtor and how you can have fun doing this business, I think is important. So the marketer expect to convert about 40% of the time doing this. And why is that? That's because you're building rapport, but you're doing it behind the scenes. So you're not face to face like a networker would be. You're not attending the events. You're just kind of behind the scenes, so you've got to create that touch point more often. So it takes a little longer to get there. So more of a long-term game. But those S personalities, they're supportive, they're steady, they're stable, they're putting the other people first. You're going to be great at this because you're going to be educating the consumers online, creating videos. You're going to be showing them what's available, all the things. You're going to bring them into your community, but it takes you longer to get to know them because you're not seeing them in person.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And there's some similarities there between that marketer and the networker, it sounds like, in
Hmm.
terms of the patience, right?
Right.
Going to take a little bit longer to actually convert, but your methods as to how you're connecting are different from what I'm hearing.
Right. Yep. Your methods are different. The networker is going to be more face to face. You're shaking the hands and kissing the babies, right? That's what they say.
Yep.
And the marketer is going to be more behind the scenes, the whole like edutainment situation. You're educating them, you're entertaining them, and you're just like weaving them into your web over time. So it's a different approach, but still people focused because that's what those personality styles are. The I and the S are really people first.
Yep.
And
Okay.
then the last one associates with the C personality. And the C personality is very calculated, very analytical, slow to make decisions kind of situation, but they're
Mm-hmm.
very task oriented. So the C is really good at converting quick leads. So these are your like Zillow leads, speed to lead type of situation. The C's see this as a checklist and they almost see it as a game. So, okay, if I had 20 calls come in today, I answered them within the first 20 seconds and I was the first one to get it. And now you're following up a conversion strategy. The C's are interested in this. It's an analytical, data driven game for them.
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of those things where you do convert again on a lower level, but only because they're originally cold leads. So if you can keep following them up and eventually build that relationship with them, you're going to get the business. But if you are, say, a broker or a team leader and you are looking for agents who are going to get that speed lead and get that Zillow lead or realtor.com lead or homes.com and you want it to be speed, The C personality agent is going to be one of the best ones for that position. So that's good to keep in mind.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, because you're always looking for a good team for that, right? To collect the leads and the data driven stuff. So the C's are good at that, very calculated.
Mm.
So we kind of run off of these at Beggins and this helps our agents get started too, to where they feel comfortable. So if we have relocation leads or a Zillow team that we can put them on, this is going to be, the converter is going to be good for those C personalities. But then if we have someone and we can tell they're a high D personality, we're going to send them down the lane of just focus on FSBOs and expireds. That's going to start your business off. So just go. And so yeah, understanding your personality style as an agent is going to help you to have fun with prospecting rather than being that S personality that is miserable making phone cold calls.
Yeah, this is great stuff, Jess. I appreciate you sharing that.
Yeah,
I think it's really powerful for any agent to really know with clarity what they are naturally going to be good at, right?
right.
And hopefully they're working with a team that cares enough to actually figure that out with them, but then puts them in the best position to succeed, right? And ultimately, that's really what leadership should be all about. So I love that that's something you guys do naturally and culturally within your group there with Beggins. It sounds like every agent who comes into your organization takes one of these disc tests. That's kind of like the entry level process to figure this stuff out, I guess, right?
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Very
We're just
cool.
a family oriented company and we want to know everything about our agents and help them succeed. So
And
this
then
is a
even if
fun
you
way to
do
do
have
that.
your clients fill the test out, like your grandpa you said did all the time, um, I can see where, based on the results that you get from the client's natural bent, that could change the way that you communicate with that client,
Mhm.
right? In terms of the methods of communication that are going to be best suited for what that client's going to resonate with, I would imagine. And
Exactly.
that's really the power that that brings too, if you did want to integrate that into some sort of a client prospecting tool.
Right. Yep, a client prospecting tool. And then again, on those listing presentations, if you pick up that they're a C personality when you go for your listing preview, you want to make sure that your listing paperwork is filled out like exactly how it should be. You're not missing any I's or cross T's. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? And if you've got an I personality, maybe they're going to e-sign that paperwork and you just want it to be extremely easy. So, understanding their personality style is going to help you make that sale.
Yeah, and again, I found it interesting that there are some similarities with all four of the personalities, and all four come with pros and cons, as we mentioned. But even on the conversion percentages, like the prospector and the converter both are in that 1 to say 5% range, right?
Mhm.
From conversion, which again could be fine because you
You
can
do
convert
more.
quicker, right? You can do more. The numbers could be in your favor. It's just a matter, like the first one, the prospector is not afraid of rejection. The last one is just got his data and he believes and leans in on the
Yeah.
data, right?
And
Let
there's no emotion behind it. It doesn't matter if, yeah, somebody says no, it's like, okay, next. Like
correct.
there's no emotion for the analytical brain.
Yeah,
So, yeah,
yeah,
the
it's very cool. It makes a lot of
mhm.
sense for sure. I know we have a group of people watching. If you guys do have any questions that you wanted to throw out to Jess, you can type them if you want to into either the chat, or there's a Q&A button as well, on the bottom there. So just that's an open invite for anybody. If you wanted to throw anything out there that we can ask Jess, feel free to throw that in there, or you're welcome to just kind of hang in and watch if you prefer that as well. But it is an open invitation. Is there anything else, Jess, in your presentation there that you think would be relevant that we should at least touch on?
Sure. Let's see. Let's see. We did talk about the preview. Um, when you're on the preview too, I would recommend bringing some sort of leave behind with you, just so that they are reminded, oh, yeah, you were here today. You're going to come back tomorrow. There's something on their kitchen counter with your face or your logo on it so that they've got you in the back of their mind. If they do have somebody coming over that same afternoon, you want to be top of mind still.
Yeah.
So we do have like we call it a pre-listing pre-listing presentation, and it just briefly goes over how we're going to represent them throughout the transaction, what our marketing looks like, little things like that. So you can bring that with you, leave that behind. And then when you come back the next day, it really is like down to business and you're straight into the numbers and the marketing and how these comps compare to their house.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just sound so knowledgeable when you're genuinely talking about their house.
Yeah.
The yeah, the dates that they did their improvements and yeah, their style and how it looks versus the competition. It makes you stand out as a professional. So I highly recommend to everybody doing that.
Do you have an example at all there of one that you usually use to leave behind, just to give a framework?
Sure. Let me open up my, this was just a quick,
As you're looking for that, one of the things I was going to mention too was I'm a huge believer in any successful real estate agent's ability to differentiate themselves from all the other agents that are out there, right? So
right,
I call that your unique selling proposition, right? Your USP. It's a big part of what we are building our Top Producers Nation community about is helping agents identify and clarify what their USP is in a way that's going to resonate with them.
right,
And even the four personality things that we just walked through, the agent archetypes, if you did take that to the next level and had each one of your clients fill out an example of one, that is another unique way that you can actually differentiate yourself as an agent, because most agents are not even tapping into any of that stuff, right? They're
right.
they're, they're not trying to position um, themselves in any way, shape, or form as a true consultant, other than just give me the information about your house and that's all that really matters, right? At this point. So I think there's some uniqueness there that can also really help you distinguish yourself in the fairly competitive game of real estate that we're all a part of here.
Right.
So just a
Yeah,
thought. So that's
it
an
does. It
example
makes
of
a
a leave behind
difference.
you have here. That's cool.
Yeah, so these were just some questions to ask while you're on the preview. Make sure while you're at the preview is when you schedule the next appointment. Don't leave the preview with nothing else booked. That's a key. And also never hang up a phone call without scheduling the next time you're going to talk to them. Doesn't matter what the topic is. It could just be a follow-up call and someone says their daughter's graduating. Oh my gosh, I'll call you in June, see how it went.
Mm-hmm.
Just give them a reason to follow up. And so do the same thing on your preview. And then this is just a brief example, and I know we've updated it since I've done this, but just kind of a timeline of what to expect throughout the process.
Mm-hmm.
Some key market factors that I'm going to take into consideration while pricing your property. Century 21 Beggins, we market your property on over 170 different websites. And Century 21 is a global company. So we actually translate your listing into 16 different languages. So anywhere a buyer is shopping for a home, your home is going to appear. So these are just a few little things. Give them an example of what closing costs look like on the seller side. You know, what should they be expecting to pay for? Show them maybe how to stage their house. So we do have like a staging checklist.
Mm-hmm.
What is our photographer looking for? So I've got a professional photographer that will come in. He's usually looking for all the lights on, the blinds off, the ceiling fans off, and kind of give them a checklist. And so I print this in a little booklet form and leave it behind for them so that they've got something tangible and they can kind of go through the checklist. Really good for the C personalities.
Very cool. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And so this just kind of
Is
goes
that
into
something you said that
pricing it.
you leave with them between your first and second meeting, or is that after the listing?
This is what I'm leaving. I'm bringing this to my preview appointment. So
Right.
the
So it's
first appointment
between
that
the
I go
first
to,
and
I'm
second.
bringing this.
Yeah.
And then depending on their personality style, maybe you don't bring it. Maybe you email it to them and you give them a copy. If you know that they're an I and they're going crazy and they have three kids and a dog and they're all over the place, maybe you don't add something extra to their plate. Maybe
Yeah.
you just, I sent you an email and it's got a PDF in there for kind of what to expect throughout the process. Maybe you bring a copy just to briefly, preview with them there and then you take it away. It's going to depend. That's where it gets fun learning their personality style. So every appointment is a little bit different because you're gearing it towards them specifically.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I get it.
Yeah.
And it does, you mentioned this earlier, but the idea that prospecting, when done properly, should actually be fun,
Yeah.
as a process. And I think that's maybe a paradigm shift for certain agents who don't necessarily think about it that way.
A
Uh,
100%. I know.
but if you want to be around in this business for a while, I think that's a really important distinction to embrace. Is, if it's
You've got to
not fun
generate
right
business
now, what do I need
somehow.
to change to make it fun, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
And
So
that could very well
understanding
just
more
be
of who
your
you
approach
are.
based on the agent archetype personality that that you have, or maybe you don't know yet. And this first step might be to take the test and figure it out for yourself.
Yep, absolutely. And there's so many personality tests out there. We just use the DISC test. I think it's pretty well known. Um,
Yeah,
it's
I
a
took
nice,
one
easy
years
one.
ago. I've done DISC as well, but there's one called the Core Values Index, CVI. That was another really cool one I thought that I liked a lot. There's so many, as you said, that are out there. I think I've probably
Yeah,
done
the
4 or 5.
Enneagram,
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
any of those will work and help you get to the same result.
Well, I love the intentionality of what you've laid out today, where there's a process here in place, obviously, to try to be efficient with conversion. And it speaks a lot to the importance, I think, of understanding your USP, using tools to help you identify how you can succeed in this business at the highest levels. And I know you guys laid out a couple of the tools that you guys have done well with Century 21. So I appreciate that. As we wrap up here, is there anything else that you feel like is relevant that we left out?
I feel like we touched on a lot today.
We did.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
think we did. Yeah.
This call is recorded, so you guys can always revisit it. It is going to be within our library at topproducersnation.com. So you do have to join the community, which is free. The community is there for ongoing resources, and these calls with people like Jess are going to be happening pretty much weekly in our calendar, which you can find as well within that community online portal. And there's a lot more to come as well within that community. We're excited about what we're providing there for ongoing value for you guys, no matter what brokerage you're affiliated with. It doesn't matter to us. We just want to help you grow your business and be a more effective agent in doing so, and obviously have a more fulfilling lifestyle as a result. So, Top Producers Nation, you can check it out at topproducersnation.com. Join the community there. The first form that you'll see to fill out, there's a couple free reports that we have there for you to help you clarify your USP. And so when you do that and you join the community, you'll see other like opportunities for courses and consulting and things like that. So, Jess, thank you for being here today. I
Yeah,
appreciate it.
absolutely. Thanks for having me. No, I appreciate it.
Look forward to seeing you on Thursday at our mastermind at the Center Club.
Yes, I will see you on Thursday.
All right, everybody. You guys have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on future calls. Take it easy.
Thanks, Don.
Bye bye now.